Hey guys, how's it going today? We are not necessarily going to be playing Call of Duty World War II, but I wanted to go ahead and put a video out there for people that may happen to be having some issues getting camos done. Now, the Resistance Division was added a little bit late for me, so the only pistol that I had left to do was the SAP. I currently do not have it completed yet. I'm at 98 headshots currently, but I wanted to make a video regarding how to get camos just a little bit easier, and obviously other people have made videos of a similar variety. I started off the game doing pistols, and then I moved to submachine guns, and I did the pistols while I was in the airborne division, and now that the Resistance Division has come out and I've already maxed out my airborne, I'm actually doing all of my submachine guns while playing in the Resistance Division, aside from getting the SAP done, and then when they added the melee weapons, I obviously hopped back and did some of those. Now, the tutorial that I'm going to be going ahead and giving you guys, without any specific gameplay, just talking about the way that you're going to want to be going about getting your camos, is going to regard pistols and your melee weapons, because those are the ones that I currently have done in this, and I've got a few of the submachine guns done, but the tips pretty much go for about the same. So the majority of the time you're going to be wanting to look for headshots for a lot of it, and the easiest way to do that is when you can sneak up behind somebody who's camping, or if you can get somebody who's a little bit distracted, you run around the entirety of the map, you flank them, and then you come in and just try to get them while they're crouched or locked in on a friendly or something like that when they're not specifically looking at you. And for this reason, a lot of times when I'm going for camos, I like to play objective-based game modes. In Black Ops 2, the game that I ended up getting camos done on both 360 and Xbox One, I ended up getting all of them done, and the majority of the time that I did this, I went and played Safeguard, because you could just line up and take people's heads off. So I currently have all of the melee weapons done. I just figured I'd switch over to my melee class, show you the Deliverance 2 that I have here. This is by far the best looking out of all of the melee weapons that I have. I do have, forget what it's called. I have the trench knife, teeth grinder. It also looks kind of cool. It looks like it's made out of plastic, though, half the time. So I definitely like the Deliverance a whole lot better. But I do have the pistols completed. Go ahead and just take a look at the Holst Pistol 2 here that I have. The camos, Diamond does not look that great on the default ones. You're going to want to have a heroic weapon if you want to see the camo without any sort of issues. Because whenever you happen to put it on a specific weapon that is not heroic, you will see it wear off. On the normal one, you can see down there, my right gun, there's a little bit worn off on the camo. And if I use an epic variant, so if I go ahead and switch these over from the M1911s to the M1911 Jupiter, it's going to look absolutely horrendous. The Diamond is on there right now. You can see it just a little tiny bit. It looks horrible. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and get off those. I'll just go ahead and show off the other ones here real quick. The Holst Pistol dual wield. But anyway, I want to talk about how I managed to get the camos. Now, the easiest thing to do is to run up behind somebody and shoot them in the back of the head. If you're not going for that, a lot of times you'll end up, let me go ahead and switch back to one that I'm just got one of. A lot of the time, if you end up coming up behind somebody, it's pretty simple. You can just take your time and actually get it out. A lot of the times when you're coming up on somebody, if they happen to be in front of you, you're going to be trying to shoot at their head, and if they're moving around, just go ahead and simulate the moving here real quick, you've got to try to compensate for it. So a lot of times, especially if you're using like the P08 or something like that, you'll end up getting one shot on the head, they'll move, and then you'll get one kind of next to the head, and then a lot of times I just end up devolving into screw the head, let's go for a body shot and just spray the heck out of them. A really good tip that I would give you guys, because they actually do have the firing range here, you can come over here real quick, you can go at different distances from this target here, and it's to actually look to see where you're typically going to see your recoil going. So with here, the Holst Pistol, that one right there, there would not be a whole lot of recoil control for that one. Here there would be a little bit more. I did this with the submachine guns when I did it, And the majority of the ones that had a high fire rate, they would end up trailing off way over here. And I couldn't figure out why I was having such an issue trying to control the recoil of the WWII. The WWII has the highest fire rate in its class. Let me see, SMG. Nope, I've got the Type 100. Oh, hey, I can show off the teeth grinder. So the WWII actually, when it shoots, there is a small chance that its recoil will go off to the left, and I couldn't figure out why I was having such an issue with that. Also, I kind of like this camo because it just looks like cheese. That's all it reminds me of is cheese. We get a different gun. Looks nice. Here, we'll grab this one real quick. So a lot of the times when you end up using the pistol... Oh yeah, here we go. Here's the PO8. So a lot of times, if you're going for a headshot... Also, I hate the iron sights, and I hate that there's no sights for the pistol themselves. So there's a little tiny bit of wear on the PO8. It ends up... To me, it seems like it looks a lot better, but you can see on the back there, to the bottom right of where it's got my kill count on this gun, it actually does have some wear there. But a lot of times, if you're just doing like the back and forth thing, trying to strafe, if you're not great at the twitch reaction for like the tiny little things, not like, oh hey, there's a guy up in that tower, now we're looking up in the tower. If it's like the little tiny corrections between like strafing and stuff like that, and if you ever have any issues where you end up running around a corner and meeting some guy and then you just can't ever find them again, I would recommend that you avoid trying to take head-on battles and actually go for headshots. A lot of times, rather than like trying to get the shots on the head, it might just be best to lay into them. And a lot of times I figured out that rather than trying to pick the shots, it can be a lot more effective and just let it go by chance, because it's better to go ahead and just lay into them and not die, and then try to push past them and then come back around and get your enemies in the back. Also, I'm recording fairly early in the morning right now. I don't know, I felt like making the video. Anyway, so that's the way that I would end up recommending that you do shooting. Also, I just realized his shooting sound is definitely coming through in the recording. Anyway, play objective game modes. I found that domination and demolition end up being the best. Demolition is the mode that they've currently got going now. It's been in previous Call of Duties. The only issue that I found with that is that if you're using just your pistol, that's what you happen to have out, they will... Oh, hey. What the hell am I doing here? I don't know how I managed to get out of divisions and into score streaks. But found out it's quite difficult to make sure that you're staying near the objective for that. It's a lot easier in domination because you can just kind of hang out. Also do have the launcher's diamond. That's funny, I've never hit Y while using this variant of the launcher, but the diamond looks better on this one. That's the way that I end up getting like the double kills out of this stuff, is just sitting near an objective, and then as soon as somebody appeared on it, shooting at them, hoping that somebody else is nearby, and then just getting that anyway. But that's what I ended up recommending for the pistol. Otherwise, what I found to be really, really good, and it might not seem like it, if you're on any kind of map, for instance, St. Marie du Mont, and you happen to be inside where they actually run into, in the building, into the cafe, if you want to just stand and aim at head height, also this guy is like ridiculously tall, but if you want to stand and aim head height, and then just aim a little bit away from the door, then when somebody comes in, you can time it out so that when they move in, you can pop them in the head, and then all you have to do is try to trail a little bit, and as long as you keep the movement purely left-right, it ends up being quite easy. The only time that you would have an issue with this is if you have drop shotters, but drop shotters are just pieces of shit anyway. Let's commend this person, because they're on at 3 in the morning. Anyway, moving off of that, let's go ahead and talk... Oh, I was already had it out. Alright. Moving off of that, we're going to go ahead and talk about the melee. I very much enjoy the melee in this game, actually, even though a lot of the times you end up going into like the animation like they had in Call of Duty Ghosts. The knifing is way better than it was in Black Ops 2, and I like it more than in Black Ops 3 as well, just because, I mean, of the supply drops that I opened in that game, never bought any, but of the supply drops that I opened in that game, like 5 melee weapons, and I got the MX Garand, and that was it. And it was absolutely terrible. World War II definitely does it way better with the DLC weapons, because you can get them out of the drops, or you can actually just go and straight earn them by completing the missions. Actually, I have the combat knife set as my mission currently, but I want to get the regular version of the other gun that they gave. What was it? They had it. It's ice pick. Ice pick right now. Anyway, when it comes to melee weapons, what I ended up finding out was one of the best ways of... Actually, you know what? Let's hop into a match here real quick. Why not? Carentan, by far the best overall, just because it's the same map. You can pick your spots, and it's really good because you can sit inside a building and pick where you're going to be fighting people, and it's really hard for people to actually come and properly get you out of there. Also, I just realized that it's 3 in the morning and I selected Carentan, and I never find matches. The only time I can ever find Carentan matches is when I have a day off of work and I'm actually playing it during the time that I would be at work. So I guess we won't be doing that. We can go ahead and jump into a match of domination, though. Ended up being the easiest way of getting melee kills is to go ahead and stake out like a house, and you want to be in a fairly small area. The flak tower is really good for close range combat, but it isn't that great for melee. I found maps that were best for melee. Obviously, Carentan was amazing for them, but surprisingly, Ardene's Forest, I actually have a really fun time meleeing on, because you can just run in and out of the ruins and come out and melee people. Also, the shack, too. And there isn't... Besides like the actual really long views that you can get, there isn't a whole lot that people can do. Here, let's go ahead and get a melee. So what I tend to do is try to stick to very enclosed areas. If you're going to be coming through, like if I'm going towards this door, I'm going to want to keep the distance that people can see you before you can close the distance is best. So running out here, if I want to try to run towards that window, I definitely don't want to take the direct route. For instance, what I'm doing right now, running around this way. And then even right here is really bad. If I want to get to that point here, let me just... Never mind. Yeah, situations like that. It's not that great. But anytime you want to do something, so if I want to run in here, rather than running straight here, I want to come and zigzag around. Zigging and zagging in this, it might seem like it's kind of dumb. Also, I have a version of the serum. Ooh, this looks really nice. Anyway, zigzagging might seem kind of dumb, and it definitely looks dumb to the other person watching, but it does work because a lot of people, especially because I'm playing on Xbox, they have an issue trying to actually track you properly. Another thing that... Wait, do I actually have 3 throwing knives? Oh my god, they patched it so you have 3 throwing knives now. They used to have it so that way you can only ever have 2. I definitely recommend playing on Expeditionary or Airborne when you're doing melee, because Airborne happens to run faster than the majority of classes, which is very useful for if you're behind somebody, you can chase them down and kill them, and this guy is actually managing to evade me a little bit. Alright, we're going to kill him real quick. But being able to get off your throwing weapons quicker, being able to pick them up off of dead people, and then throwing them quicker, picking them up off of dead people, and having extras. So now that they've patched it so you can have 3 throwing knives when you've got serrated, it's fantastic. Also, you definitely want to be running serrated as your basic training, and it is quite a high level thing to, you have to be a higher level to unlock it. I actually brought it with for one of my prestiges. Absolutely worth it, especially when more DLC melee weapons are going to be coming out, as I can foresee. I wouldn't be surprised if they put a sword in it at some point. But for encounters where you happen to not be able to close the distance, so if there was a guy at that door right now, and zigzagging definitely isn't going to be an option, you can just, real quick, throw a knife at him. A lot of times you still end up dying, but it's better than just sprinting towards them to your death. So if you know that you're going to be looking down like a long area, like if you're going to be glancing out here, you might want to take out a throwing knife and be like, bro, just die. Damn it. It didn't work. Anyway, I mean, besides that, if yeah, we might as well talk about the launches at this point, because we've gone over pistols, we've gone over melee weapons. I've done a horrible job at showing how melee weapons should be used because I'm a little bit out of practice. Also, this isn't Karantan, and Karantan, I cannot stress it enough, is fabulous for melee. Love it. Alright, we'll kill you.
Enemy taking A. Kaiser is taken. Counterattack.
We'll see. Okay, we're focusing now. The only issue is that when you're going for the Bloodthirsties from melee, I would recommend not playing as Expeditionary and using a smoke grenade in Airborne, because after so long of playing Expeditionary and being able to just like throw a throwing knife and killing people actually successfully a lot of times, it ends up messing you up a little bit if you happen to try throwing a throwing knife and you actually have one equipped and you kill the guy. So if you've got 4 kills and then the 5th guy, you might be able to close the distance, but instead you end up throwing a throwing knife and killing them. You've taken away your own Bloodthirsty for the melee, and the Bloodthirsties are quite difficult. Along with getting into an enclosed area, another way that you can do it is if you happen to be playing Domination and there's a point that is very heavily traveled but isn't necessarily right on the objective. So, for instance, if B is here like this, one of the ways that I found is really effective of being able to kill people is to just lay out of sight behind a corner or something, and then as soon as somebody shows up, you just rush out and stab them real quick. Oh wait, I got shot in the back. I didn't realize where the bullets came from. Anyway, that's the tactics that I ended up using for using melee. They worked really well. Oh, the throwing knife didn't come off. At least I don't think it did. If it did, the guy moved just in time. Oh, my throwing knife came out, but it didn't kill him. Oh, I'm so appreciative of the guy that decided to stand there and actually start taking bullets and then get in my way. See, the strafing almost got him there. I'm not sure what it is with people about seeing somebody who's meleeing. Like, if I'm here and they were shooting at me from that little box right there and I run back here, for some reason they always just give chase. You just run out and stab them. A lot of times people are that dumb. The other issue is that a lot of times I'll like dodge behind something, hope that they're going to be chasing after me, and they're just standing there waiting to shoot me, which is smart on their part. But a lot of times I'll go and hide behind something and then people will just be like, oh, I'm gonna follow you. Like a horror movie, and it's like, I heard a noise over there, it's probably the killer, let's run towards him. Not quite the zigzag I wanted. Currently there is no reason for me to be using the knife. A lot of times I end up completing my camos for something and then I just stop using it because I don't need to use it anymore. I've already got my camos. Alright, you're dead. Whoops. That was an accident. Didn't mean to do that. Yeah, you little bitch. You little bitch. Fuck. That was an enemy, right? Yeah, it was. He's over here. Get him. Got him. Alright, cool. Oh, shit. I completely forgot I have a contract for doing resistance, pistol, and game mode kills, and I'm currently doing only one. Why the fuck are you just backing? He wasn't even reloading. He was just like, I'm gonna slowly back away from you. Is that our artillery or theirs? Hi, buddy. Damn it. Yeah, I should have been playing resistance and actually using a pistol. I could be getting my headshots from my SAP right now, but instead I'm playing with the throwing knife. Yeah, let's go ahead and switch over to my SAP. I'm out of practice with throwing knives currently. Damn it. Almost got the second one. I did pull off a really nice throwing knife early on, though. Ow. Oh, I've got a throwing knife in this class, too. But it's going to take longer to throw out just because I have... whatchamacallit? Headshot. love the SAP. It's fantastic. It's basically a primary weapon.
Enemy recon aircraft.
It has the damage of the M1911, but the clip size and fire rate of the P08. So it by far the best pistol, unless you're going for straight DPS, and I think the machine pistol might beat it then.
Enemy capturing Anton.
Oh, there's my headshots.
Enemy care package observed. Deny them their recon flight.
Ow. As I was saying before, rather than picking my shots in those situations, it's a lot better to just lay into them and then try to keep it somewhat head height.
Enemy counter recon aircraft observed. Capturing Anton.
So I've never actually successfully shot down a counter recon aircraft, but I have successfully shot down a care package, which is quite an accomplishment because you have to start the shot like right as it enters the map. Like if you want to aim at the center of the map when it happens to be coming through, it has to be immediate. I ended up catching it. We were playing Gustav Cannon, I think. Yep, because this was the one where the skies are completely clear. I was able to spot it out and shoot it. I've also never shot down a fighter airplane,
Enemy care package observed.
but I should do a tutorial on the launchers because they're a little bit difficult to get the hang of right away. Just like with the Maws in Advanced Warfare, it was quite difficult to get the UAV shots.
Enemy capturing Anton.
Also, just a note, if you guys happen to decide to go for the launcher camos, when it says destroy 5 score streaks, friendlies don't count, so hardcore is not going to help you in that matter. I'm a little bit disappointed at the fact that one-shot kills are required for the shotguns, because the majority of the time, even close range with like the double barrel or the Luftwaffe, they don't actually do enough damage, or especially the semi-automatic one with the clip, not the combat shotgun, the toggle action. The Luftwaffe, the double barrel, and the toggle action most of the time require 2 shots to be able to put somebody down, so you basically have to go play hardcore. And then probably the same thing with the carabin. I'm not going to bother trying to do that in core. I'm just going to go straight there, because otherwise you have to get headshots, and doing headshots versus just body shots, why would you not go for body shots instead? Anyway, that wasn't really that great of a tutorial, but it was basically just like me chatting. 2.5. I got 3.13 armory credits. That's great. That's funny. Wasn't really too much of a tutorial, and I don't even know if anybody actually got any useful information out of this, but I mean, I just wanted to talk about how I ended up getting my camos. I like showing my camos off, because unlike Black Ops 2, where I still had like ridiculous tons of friends that played the Call of Duty rather than I think a lot of my friends switched over to Destiny or something like that. Back in Black Ops 2 days, I had a lot of friends that ended up playing it, so spent the first couple months just getting all my camos hammered out and stuff like that, and then I would go play Headquarters, where I could stay alive pretty much the entire time, and I would get friends and people in my games and stuff like that, and it was a great feeling to have people be like, "Oh, dude, you got diamond! Oh my God, you're amazing at this game." And I was like, "Yes, thank you. This is the verification I need in my life." Anyway, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'm talking as though somebody actually came all the way to this point in this video. Goddamn, 24 minutes, whatever. See you guys next time.